Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nickelodeon's Paw Patrol, my Willow's favorite show. These are 5-minute story collections narrated by yours truly, Poppy. We begin this series with Marshall to the Rescue. It was an exciting day at the lookout. A flock of geese was stopping overnight to rest. Rocky built a big nest for the birds to sleep in, and Rubble used his shovel to fill the nest with bread for them to eat. Marshall was so excited he accidentally tumbled into the nest. "The geese are coming!" he shouted. The geese flew in and landed, honking happily. Honk, honk! They started pecking at the pieces of bread right away. One tired goose settled down into the nest to relax. "She likes your nest, Rocky," Ryder said, patting the pup on the head. Rocky smiled, proud of his good work. But a baby goose wandered away from the rest of the flock. He walked into a blue bucket and rolled down a hill. "I'll get him," Marshall announced, racing after the bucket. But as he ran, his feet got tangled up. Marshall and the little gosling ended up bouncing down the hill. When they reached the bottom, they were both a little dizzy. The gosling's eyes rolled around. "Are you okay, fuzzy little guy?" Marshall asked. "Cheep, cheep," the goose replied with a nod. "Hey," Marshall exclaimed, "Fuzzy is a great name for you." He nudged the gosling with his nose. "Back to your family, Fuzzy." Marshall took Fuzzy back up the hill to the lookout. "Nice work, Marshall," Ryder said. Marshall introduced the little goose to the rest of the Paw Patrol. Fuzzy liked all the pups, but Marshall was definitely his favorite. Sky chuckled. "Marshall, it looks like you have a new BGFF. Best goose friend forever." All the puppies laughed. For the rest of the day, the two friends did everything together. The little goose followed Marshall everywhere he went. When Marshall washed his fire truck, Fuzzy polished the window with his tail feathers, until Marshall accidentally washed the little goose with his hose. "Oops," Marshall said. "Sorry, Fuzzy." That evening, Marshall walked back to the nest with Fuzzy on his head. "Okay, Fuzzy," he said, bending so Fuzzy could jump off. "Time to hit the hay, or nest." Fuzzy jumped up and down on Marshall's head. "Cheep, cheep." He didn't want his new friend to leave. "I suppose I could sleep out here," Marshall said, "but just this once." He curled up, and soon they were both asleep. First thing next morning, while Marshall was still asleep, Fuzzy wandered off looking for food, 'cause he was hungry. When Marshall woke up, he looked around for his friend. "No Fuzzy?" He called his name, but the goose didn't answer. Marshall ran to Ryder. "Fuzzy's gone," he said. "We have to find him before his flock leaves." Ryder called the Paw Patrol to the lookout. "Our goose friends have to fly south for the winter," he explained. "But they're missing one little goose. If we don't find Fuzzy fast, they'll have to leave without him. Chase, I need you to call Fuzzy with your megaphone. Marshall, Fuzzy would follow you anywhere. I need you to help look for him too." Marshall sniffed the ground, searching for clues. "He found a feather." Ryder picked it up, and Chase took a whiff. "Achoo! Achoo!" Chase sneezed. "I'm sorry, I'm a little allergic to feathers." He took a few more sniffs, sneezed, and announced, "He went this way." Marshall, Chase, and Ryder jumped into their vehicles and raced across Adventure Bay. Their sirens blared as they followed Fuzzy's feathered trail. This was an emergency. Suddenly, Marshall heard chirping. Fuzzy was on the roof of the train station. He had a piece of bread on his beak, and two seagulls were trying to steal it. "Fuzzy, fly down here," Marshall said. "He can't," Ryder said. "A plastic soda can ring is wrapped around his wing. Marshall, use your ladder to help get Fuzzy down." Marshall extended the ladder on his fire truck, which scared away the seagulls. He climbed up the ladder, but Fuzzy slipped on the edge of the roof and fell off. "Use your helmet," Ryder cried. Marshall caught Fuzzy in his fire helmet. "Sweet catch, Marshall." "Now let's get this off you," Ryder said, carefully pulling the plastic ring from Fuzzy. He was free again. The goslings flapped his wings. flew into the air and landed on Marshall's head. Marshall laughed. But the Paw Patrol raced back to the lookout. They had to get there before Fuzzy's flock flew away. But they were too late. The geese had just left. Fuzzy would have to flap fast to catch up with them. Fuzzy didn't want to go, and Marshall didn't want him to leave either. A little gosling belongs with his family, Ryder said. Marshall agreed, and Ryder quickly came up with a plan to return Fuzzy to his flock. "Let's take to the sky," Sky exclaimed, as her helicopter rose into the air, lifting Marshall in a harness. "Cheep, cheep!" Fuzzy flapped his wings and followed Marshall through the sky. Soon they caught up with the flock of geese. "Goodbye, Fuzzy," Marshall called, as Fuzzy joined the flock. "Have a safe flight, you silly goose." Back at the lookout, the pups played jump rope. "You guys did an awesome job today," Ryder said. "What a bunch of good pups." Marshall missed Fuzzy, but he knew his little friend would visit whenever his family flew overhead. Until then, Marshall had his paw, you get it, and some pup pals to keep him company. The end. This is Poppy saying, see you next time. Love you, Willow.
Sorry.